Hello, guys. I am here to discuss Book 3 and Book 4 of The History of Tom Jones, a Foundling by Henry Fielding. So, let's begin with Book 3, Chapter 1. So, in the Chapter 1, the narrator does not go into details of each and every incident. He is not keen in documenting every second of time and leave the readers to arrive at their own opinions of the character. We can see that he neither describes the grief Allworthy experiences or the death of Captain Blifil, nor does he elaborate the character of Miss Bridget Blifil. Assuming the readers to be of superior intellect, the author grants them 12 years in which to exercise their skills of penetration. Chapter 2. Chapter 2 presents the character of Tom, introducing him with an unfortunate anecdote which portrays many of his faults, chief among them being his passion for stealing. His recent misadventure being a stolen fruit from an orchard, a farmer's duck and ball belonging to Master Blifil. While Master Blifil is portrayed with loads of good virtues, that includes sobriety, discretion, and piety. So in Chapter 2, the narrator presents incident in which Tom takes the blame of killing a partridge belonging to Allworthy's neighbour to protect their servant friend, Mr. Black George. So Tom receives a flogging for his act from Mr. Thwackum, his and Blifil's tutor. Later, Allworthy relents and tries to remedy the situation by giving Tom a little horse. So, Chapter 3. In this chapter, Tom and Blifil's tutor, Mr. Squire and Mr. Thwackum, are discussed. So, Mr. Squire believes that a man should always be spectacular and see virtue as a matter of theory, while Thwackum believes in original sin. Their only similarity is that neither will ever refer to the concept of goodness in arguments. The narrator tells us that both the tutors always find something or other to debate on. Chapter 4. One day, the dinner is interrupted by Blifil, who has a bloody nose from a fight with Tom. Though Tom is smaller, but is by far the better boxer. Tom explains that he punched Blifil after the latter called him beggarly bastard. Blifil denies this and accuses Tom of lying, and at the same time reveals that Tom's accomplice in the partridge incident was Black George. Tom pleads Allworthy to have mercy on Black George and his family and takes full blame for the incident. Allworthy dismisses the boys, asking them to treat one another more amicably in future. Chapter 5. Both the tutors take Blifil's side, praising him and denouncing Tom. Though Allworthy saves Tom from Thwackum's beating, he dismisses Black George. The neighbor commands Tom as a brave lad and indict Blifil as a sneaking rascal. Blifil's smartness is showcased in this chapter, in which he always agrees with his tutor's doctrines, and he always praises his tutors to Allworthy, who in turn tells this to Squire and Thwackum, making them more happy and despising Tom all the more. Chapter 6. Both Squire and Thwackum are interested in Bridget. The narrator tells about many male visitors to Allworthy's house who are attracted to Bridget, who is neither beautiful nor young. The narrator attributes these to men's attraction for women who are rich. This is also one of the reasons for both the tutors to shower kindness to Blifil. Bridget, from her side, truly desires flattery and courtship, as she does not wish to remarry. She harbours animosity towards Blifil because of the bitter memory of his father. On the other hand, she thrives for Tom's well-being. Chapter 7. As soon as Allworthy realizes that Bridget now neglects Blifil, his relentless compassion induces to protect Blifil. Chapter 8. Half a year has passed since Tom sold the horse Allworthy have given him at a fair. Thwackum prepares to beat him when Tom does not tell him what he has done with the money from the sale. Tom calls Thwackum a tyrannical rascal when Allworthy questions Tom in private and cautions him against using such language. Tom tells Allworthy he gave all the money from the sale to Black George and his family. Allworthy sheds some tears in appreciation by Tom's compassion. Chapter 9. Sometime before Tom sold a Bible given to him by Allworthy to Blifil. Blifil flaunts the book so much and roams around the house with the book in the hand. Thwackum eventually notices Tom's name on the Bible and condemns Tom's action as sacrilege. Squire Weston, Allworthy's neighbour, accuses Black George with some black deeds. One day, Tom leads Allworthy and Blifil to Black George's home, where the family's poverty excites Allworthy's empathy. Allworthy gives money to Black George's wife to buy clothes for their children. Allworthy also promises to support them. Chapter 10. Blifil, in Tom's absence, recalls an incident to Allworthy in which Black George is accused of killing and selling many hares. Disgusted, Allworthy promises Tom that he will continue to support Black George's family. But he does not want to hear Tom mention Black George's name again. Tom becomes friendly with Squire Weston through his sporting skills. Squire Weston now shares his horses, dogs and guns freely with Tom. Squire Weston also has a 17-year-old daughter who is very charming and attractive, loved by everyone. So, Book 4, Chapter 1. Squire Weston's daughter, Sophia Weston, is ushered into the spotlight. Chapter 2. In this chapter, Sophia Weston is compared with female characters from high literature and high society. The narrator grazes with the information that Sophia Weston is symmetrical, of medium height, of perfect proportion, with sobre coloured hair, black eyes, 2 rows of ivory in her mouth. Moreover, her inside matches her exquisite exterior. Sophia has been educated by her aunt. Chapter 3. Sophia, at 18 years old, loves her father more than any other living male. That is why Tom chooses to direct his plea on Black George's behalf to Sophia. The narrator then tells about the friendship between Tom, Blifil and Sophia as they live pleasantly as neighbours and the kids with playmates. Tom has presented Sophia with a bird that he has stolen from a nest and trained it to sing. Sophia has named the bird Little Tommy, and that was her greatest pastime. One day, Blifil persuades Sophia to let him hold Little Tommy for a moment. On acquiring the bird, he let it fly away. The bird perched itself on a tree branch. Tom tries to rescue the bird, but he falls from the branch and tumbles in a canal when he tries to climb the tree. Later, Blifil confesses that he did it purposely because he cannot see anything not having freedom. Chapter 4. Squire Thwackum, Squire Weston, Allworthy, and a lawyer friend of Weston's argue whether Blifil's action were right or wrong. Squire and Thwackum praises Blifil, whereas Weston is annoyed for depriving Sophia of her bird, and Allworthy thinks that action was wrong but the motivation was good. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. From that day, Sophia develops a kindness for Tom and an aversion to Blifil. Sophia realizes that Tom has no enemy but himself, while Blifil has few enemies but loves only himself. So Sophia publicly praises Tom and publicly disparages Blifil. After living and studying with her aunt for 3 years, Sophia decided to return to her father's house. Chapter 6. Coming to the end of the video. So in Squire Weston's house, Sophia now reigns supreme. Tom often dines with the father and daughter since he shares Squire Weston's passion for hunting. Tom is 20 and has earned a reputation of being a pretty fellow by all the ladies of the neighborhood. Sophia's pleasure of Tom's company increases day by day, but Tom is too young to notice, and Sophia's pleasure of Tom's company increases day by day, but Tom is too young to notice, and Squire Weston is too much absorbed in animals and sports. Thank you.